Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. It's always a pleasure to have someone new come by and see what I'm doing here. Today I have for you another genre makers. What is this I hear all the new people asking? Well, simply put, it's kind of where I go over to a game in a given genre and kind of talk about its contribution to that genre as a whole. These, as the title may suggest, either define or redefine the genre as a whole, basically making it into something new or often more important in some way than it was before. Today, what I have for you is no exception, because this, for many of us, literally wrote the book when it comes to football, and that's Madden. Yep, we're going back into sports games today and talk about how Madden and his name recognition and how involved he was with the game process helped frame out what we look for in a modern football title. So, if you have a minute, grab a snack and a drink and hang out with me for a while as we dig into football games. Now, sports games have been around for almost as long as video games have been around. You can go back as far as the Atari and see titles like football, basketball, etc. Later on, and television would actually get the NFL license in a sense, which is to say, it was able to say it was approved by the NFL itself. Now, it didn't actually have any official rosters and honestly wasn't that much more advanced than the Atari version. However, it was licensed and a step forward. Games would continue to advance in scope and size until around 1988, when John Madden Football would be released on the Apple II, MS-DOS, and Commodore 64. What made this such a big deal was the amount of detail and Madden's own involvement. You see, Madden insisted on certain things before he'd put his name on it, one of which was the inclusion of 11 players on each side of the field. Before this, games often had 6 to 7 players at most on either side. Now, at its core, this was a more arcade-like football game. Still, players could set up scenarios and run them. You could configure things like the time of quarters, player fatigue, injuries, penalties. It didn't, however, have an official NFL license, so you didn't have authentic teams, player names, or stadiums. However, it was an important start towards that. Later in the 90s, Sega would release the Genesis, and this is where things would really heat up with sports games, with them having their own series, EA starting to get more into sports games, in large part thanks to the success of the Madden game series. The NFL franchise would actually be acquired and used in future installments. Players' rosters would be added and more plays would be added as well. The addition of stadiums and other feature sets that made the game feel more realistic will also be added into the games. All of this added up into seasonal launch games where year after year tons of other players would enter into the fray to get a piece of the growing market. However, one name stuck out in people's minds again and again, and that's Madden. People would line up each year to get the next copy of the game. Hell, people would buy next-gen consoles just to play Madden. His name came to mean football to many people, even those who never watched sports. In many ways, it set the modern standard that Sega and EA would use to build much of the industry as we see today. Even Madden itself endures to this very day, with 36 or more titles under the brand at this point. Now that's one hell of a run. Heck, it even had arcade and mobile releases, if you can believe that. I think it's easy to say that Madden set the tempo for what was to come. Other sports games would come in and follow suit with more and more realistic sports simulations, and today we have an industry worth $21.2 billion just off sports titles alone, in large part due to how popular Madden has been over the years, not only showing gamers that video games could be more than just plumbers saving princesses and other fantasies. It could be realistic, gritty content, sporting events, and almost anything that you could imagine, helping in many ways move the needle of the age group in video games, much like Sega would do with its Genesis console in the 1990s, and literally redefining how we see video games and who we see them for. However, what do you guys think of this one? Are any of you fans of sports titles, and if so, which ones? Do you think Madden deserves the credit for this one, or do you think another series did it better? Let me know in the comments. While you're there, if you don't mind, please leave this video a like. And if you see more of my stuff you like, consider following the channel. That helps me out a ton. Till we meet again though, have a great rest of your day, and happy gaming.